The ongoing teacher protests in Oaxaca, Mexico have turned deadly over the past few days, with reports of up to 8 people being killed in confrontations with police. The clashes between teachers, state police, and local residents also left 53 civilians and 55 police officers injured, according to the Oaxaca state government. 21 people have been arrested so far. This information is accurate as of late last night, and so almost certainly those numbers are higher by now. The violence came after 7 days of street blockages and demonstrations, disrupting traffic on a major highway connecting Oaxaca to Mexico City. Now, if you haven't been following along with this, the origins of the most recent rounds of these protests, of which there have been others going back through the past decade plus, have to do with a series of education reforms announced by Mexico's president back in 2013 that have to do with evaluation standards and procedures for teachers throughout Mexico. Now, I have received messages from people who work as teachers in Mexico saying that in many cases these new standards have been used to basically provide a justification for the firing of literally thousands of teachers. It's led to lower pay in some cases, and so there are justifiable grievances amongst the many people working as teachers in Mexico today as a result of these new reforms. Now, clouding this at the same time, there are some unions defending and representing the teachers who have themselves been the targets of claims that they are embezzling money, that over $1 million has been taken by the leadership and they are using this issue. That is the government side that's making that claim, of course. Now, one of those unions, CNTE Nacional, says in response to claims that the protesters are the violent ones, that's the claim the government, the police are making. They say that education is the only weapon of the people. Those of the government are the instruments of death and repression. Who is the criminal? And the police claimed for a long time that they were not sending out armed police. That has been shown to be untrue. Now they're backtracking and saying that they are only now carrying guns in response to themselves being fired on. Now, people have been shot, people have been killed. We don't know for sure at this point who has been doing most of or all of the shooting and killing. But we do know, really fast, local journalist Elpidio Ramos Zarate, who worked for the newspaper El Sur del Istmo, was among those killed, according to the Mexican National Commission of Human Rights, in addition to some trainee student teachers and others.
So in a situation like this, it's really, really hard to know exactly what's happening, because one side has a megaphone much larger than the other side. So the government can claim all the things that it wants, and every press organization, not just in Mexico, but worldwide, will just keep quoting the government, because it's very easy to quote the government, and the government seems more official. It's very hard to get statements from the teachers to verify those statements. The government is seen as almost by definition trustworthy. I mean, that's the government of Mexico saying it. Would they be lying? Yeah, they might be lying. And so I'm not saying that that I know for a fact the government is or the teachers are right, and the truth might be somewhere in the middle, and there might have been violence on both sides, and we don't know to what degree who started that violence. But generally, the guys with more guns are the ones that kill more people. Just common sense, and the cops and the government usually has more guns. Now, that's not anywhere near conclusive, okay? I don't want anybody to leave that impression. Now, that's why I think journalists, real journalists, do such an amazing job. That guy lost his life trying to cover the event. And a lot of people that will cover this might risk their life. I mean, they're shooting on apparently on both sides. And
I've seen pictures of police pointing their guns at the protesters. The idea that they would show far more restraint than the police that we've seen in our own countries during protests, I find a little bit hard to believe.
Yeah, and there's certainly been a history in Mexico of the police not showing restraint. And so they're risking their lives to get that story for us, but we've got to wait and see what real journalists on the scene come up with as to what's going on here. Now, removed from the violence, I like that the teachers are saying, not on our watch. We're going to do something about it, right? I mean, they're blocking the streets, and one of the reasons things might have come to a boiling point is because it involved money. Turns out when they blocked the roads, the oil couldn't get out. Then we've got real trouble. Because that is a region where they do have oil, but they couldn't get the oil through the roads because the teachers had blocked the roads. Now, usually when people are losing money, all of a sudden violence shows up. And Usually not a coincidence. Again, we'll have to see what happened here. But it takes a lot of courage to go up against that kind of power.
Exactly.
So I wish to God none of this violence had happened. And I'd be shocked if everyone killed wasn't in some way innocent. I don't know who the guilty would be, right?
Yeah.
So all those lives lost is an absolute tragedy.
This footage is amazing.
Yeah. See, and when you see this, I mean, think about the perspective, right? You don't know who fired the guns. So this, again, for the 100th time, caveat on that. But one side is charging the other side. So now I get it why, because the teachers are blocking the road, so the cops are trying to clear the road because the oil's got to get through the road, okay? But it's not like the teachers are charging the cops. The cops are charging the teachers. And remember, one side is paid to carry weapons. The other side is paid to carry pencil and paper. So,
which I hear is mightier than the sword.
yeah, well,
Perhaps in the end we'll find out.
yeah, if there's some good journalists on the ground, we might find out, and it might turn out to be more powerful in the end. But for the moment being, it appears the bullets are more powerful. That's why it takes so much courage to do a real protest like this.
Yeah, 100%.